Okay, let's make a start. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our Friday webinar. Today we are looking at draws, runner sets, and their applications within CabMaster. Today we're going to be using CabMaster Pro version 11.1.0.121, which is the most current released version. The questions we're going to answer today are how do draws work in CabMaster? How do I locate the draw tables on my computer? What are runner sets and how do I create a new one? How do I change the draw type for my whole drawing? How do I change the draw type for one cabinet? How can I move draws up and down? How can I move draws backwards? How can I add internal draws above other draws? Now, we won't be able to show every possible application of draws, but if there is something you'd like to know how to do, and we have time at the end, we will answer what questions you have. You can ask questions in the webinar interface by clicking Q&A and then typing your questions here. You can leave the webinar at any time by clicking the red phone button at the bottom of the screen. Please keep any questions related to the topic. We're not going to be providing technical support during the webinar. Let's kick everything off by looking at how draws work within CabMaster. Quite simply, you have draw runner groups, which are standard, middle standard, and middle premium. Standard are box draws made of board material typically and use ball bearing or undermount runners. An example of this would be the Bloom Marivo box. Middle standard are single-sided middle draws, and middle premium are double-walled middle draws. An example of middle standard is the Bloom Meta box, and middle premium would be Bloom Intaro. Within each runner group, we have runner sets. These are best described as the brand and the model of the draw. They are usually set up to automatically determine the draw height, given the available space within the carcass. All of these work based on draw tables. There is a single draw table for every draw in CabMaster. Draw tables contain information such as the construction, values for the widths, lengths, and heights of the base, and other components of the draw. They are based on the carcass and reference other tables that specify the machining. The machining tables hold the information that determines where and what will be drilled and cut out. Most of them also have information on the layer names that EasyNest will read when you export the machining. Generally, if you have a draw that doesn't have any drilling, you can bet that the reference in the draw tables is missing or incorrect. To find where your draw tables are saved, click File, then Options, then File Locations, copy the path next to Lookup Tables, and then open up File Explorer and paste that in there. You can see we have our draw runner groups, which is draw middle box, draw runners, draw tandem box. Of course, draw runners are standard draw middle box, a middle standard, and draw tandem box, a middle premium. If we then click on machining, then draw runners, these are the folders that contain the tables that hold all the machining for the draws. Do not move, rename, or delete any of these files or folders unless you're experienced with editing tables and altering runner sets. Do not modify any of these tables unless you have prior experience and have made a backup first. To make a backup, right-click on the folder or the file and then go Send to Compressed Zip folder. Again, draw runners are standard. Melamine boxes with ball bearing runners. Draw metal box are metal standard. They're single-sided metal. And then tandem box is your metal premium. Runner sets are customized sets of drawers. Each runner set is a list of up to 5 drawers. That is because the name of the drawers you see in CabMaster are the names of the drawer tables. So if we go back to here, we go back to tables, go draw tandem box. For example, we go Blamentaro B, no element, insert a copy. That would show up as the name of the drawer in CabMaster. So if we go to drawing properties, and for example, we click on form here. So you can set the height values in your runner sets so that CabMaster will automatically change the drawer based on the internal space. Many think that it changes the height, but it doesn't. It changes the actual drawer table that is being applied to that drawer. You can create separate runner sets for, say, screw front drawers, inserter, or inner. You can even have different brands and series of drawers within your runner set as long as they're all contained within the same folder. To create a new runner set, open up your drawing properties, then go to Hardware, then go to Managers. Now today we're going to make a new runner set for Blumerivo box, which is metal premium. So we click the form button next to the premium. Now this drop-down list contains all the current runner sets for metal premium. If we click on any of those, we can see what's in each of those. So for example, if you go tech form Simline, we can see our tech form there. So I'm going to click new now. There we go. And I'm going to call it, for example, Bloom dash Marivo box inserter. And I'm going to click OK. I'm not going to enter anything here. I'm just going to click OK. Now if we go back to drawers over here, we make sure it's selected there and we click the metal premium button. So our set here is Bloom Revo box inserter. I'll click that edit button there. There's our runner set again. Now the folder is the folder in Explorer that is holding our Revo box inserter tables. So if we go back to here, click on there, and we can see if I scroll down here, there's our Marivo box. So if I choose the Bloom folder, all this is all of this. Now we can have up to 5 here, and then we can set the height at which CabMaster changes to the next drawer table. So if I go down to Bloom Marivo box, and I'm going to choose N 40 kilo inserter. Now, it won't let us select the next one until we put in that value. Now, I know it's 108. I know the next one is 146. And the next one is 209. You can get this information from our StoreMaster website. If you go into StoreMaster and then click on the drawers, there will be a picture for each drawer that has this information here. So which drawer runner to use, at which height. If you have a drawer set that isn't on StoreMaster, you can generally find that information from the spec sheets from the suppliers. So we'll go down to Mario box. Now I know the next height is M, and I'm going to go 40 kilo inserter. Then we have K, 40 kilo inserter. And the next one after that is E, 40 kilo inserter. If we click update, apply, and OK, we can see the information is now there. We can set the gap behind the drawer. And then if we want to include the base and the back as well, and we'll click OK. There we go, OK. And if I grab a drawer there, drop that in, we open that up, we can see that we've got Mario box E there. I'm going to change that to 4 drawers. And we can see that they've changed size. So, no, that is KKM. That does look correct. Perfect. So again, you can have customized groups of drawers. If you had your Finista drawers all in the same folder as your Bloom drawers, you could have a runner set that has mix and match drawers. Again, you can copy and paste your drawer tables. I wouldn't cut them and move them from other folders, just in case. If you do move anything, it may cause some machining not to show or drawers to go missing. So be aware, don't move or delete drawer tables within File Explorer. So now, how do we change our drawer set for the whole drawing? That's quite simple. We go to Drawing Properties and then Job Setup, and then we want Hardware. We can change the group, and then for each group we can change our drawer set. You can also go to Drawing Properties, Hardware, Drawers, Drawing Properties, Hardware, Drawers, and then you can change your runner group set there and here. And again, we've got the extra options here for the gaps behind. So how do I change the drawer type for one cabinet? For a standard cabinet or a standard drawer cabinet, go to Cabinet Details, General Settings, and then Drawers. And we can choose it here. If we go to, well, there and there, if we go to Hardware, and then drawers, we can choose our runner sets there. For a universal cabinet, if you have drawers set as your content, you can go to drawers. In options, you've got your group, and then if we go down to drawer hardware, we can choose our runner sets there. So how can we move drawers up and down without moving the drawer fronts as well? In a standard drawer, we'll go to cabinet machining, and then we go to drawer adjust. Increasing the values here will move the drawers up. Reducing the value here will move the drawers down. The drawer will move, but the front will not. So that means that the machining in the front would move to suit. The same option is in universals, and it can be found by going to drawers and then going to options. And then position, which is there. And that is it there. And as you can see, I've got the middle drawer 20 mil up. So how do we move drawers backwards? To do this, you'll use a universal cabinet. And you go to cabinet details, go to your area, the content with the drawers, and you can put the front recess on. If I make that floating so we can see that there, they are recessed back 100 mil. If we go to drawers and then fronts, if you have fronts on your carcass, might be better to see this in hidden. Go to include in height and then adjust the gaps to suit. And we'll go for tab. Something is incorrect there. Anywho. Moving on. There's more options for drawers in universal cabinets, which you can see in our universal webinar video on YouTube. That's it. That's where I went wrong. Tab. That's it there. Tab. Thank you, Lee, for pointing that out. Perfect. Cool. Okay. So we'll close that down. Internal drawers. So what if we want to put an internal drawer above another drawer so that they are both behind the same drawer front? I'll put this back to 3D wireframe so we can see what it's doing. Firstly, go to cabinet details, area 1, add in a horizontal division, untick offset below even, untick include. So include is the physical division, and then we can adjust that height from being even or center to move the division up, which will then move our drawers in the top up. You'll get a second content option show up. So both upper and lower we set as drawers. Now the recess on the front, we need to move it back, so we set the recess at the front. About 22 mil roughly. It depends on the thickness of your drawer front material. It will be a calculation of the behind gap plus the thickness of the front. We're then going to go to, in cabinet properties, area 1, L1, go to options, and we set the quantity as 1, and we also do that for the upper. So we've got one drawer there, one drawer there. Now, while we're back in area 1, lower 1, we'll go to fronts. We'll tick include in height, because by default, universal drawers don't have fronts included. So we tick that on. And then we adjust our top gap to suit. By default, the top gap would be probably 3, something like that. And it would look like that. So you can just go. Little bit of maths, work out what it needs to be so that you can get it to the right height there, which you can see very barely. We'll put that back there. Now we'll do something similar for the top drawer. So we go area 1, upper 1 drawers, include in height, and then we set our gaps here as well. Plus 17 tab, and then you can include a bottom gap if you wanted minimum height drawer front or minimum overlap. You could go say negative 20, except it should be positive 20. So that gives you an idea of how that works. We'll go back to lower 1 in options. We can open that drawer up a bit, go for 100%, and then in upper 1, we'll open that one up as well. View, and then we'll go 3D textured. Of course, you can turn off the handle for that one. So we go to handles, we'll go remove handle. Now, before we go to looking at some of your questions, I'm going to show you a couple of features in the next version of CabMaster, which will be CabMaster 12. I'll open up drawing properties. Don't know why that opened up on that screen again, but anywho, there it is here. For drawers in CabMaster 12, we now have a direct link in the Managers page to the StoreMaster website. We also have the runner editor, which has popped up on the wrong screen again, but anywho. And now you can change or override, I should say, the tables. So you can change your runner holes, your back holes. For example, if we go runner holes, it's interesting, it's pulling up there still. we can see that we can change our runner holes here. We can change the distance from the front, the heights. You can change the bottom holes. So if the guys out in the shed putting your drawers together are going, my drawer side isn't quite lining up with the front of my drawer bottom, you will be able to come in here and adjust all that. You can change the diameter. So say if you're using 3mm or 658 screws instead of 5mm Euro screws, you can change that here too. So keep your eyes peeled for CabMaster version 12 because it is going to make things so much easier for you with your drawers. Now we'll go through some of your questions and hopefully we'll be able to show you how to do some of the other things that you'd like to be able to do. Please keep your questions to CabMaster version 11.1. And if I don't get to your question and it is something you really need to know how to do, you can contact technical support. So what do we have as far as questions go? We do not have any. Excellent. Does anybody have any questions? Can you change the construction method for drawers? You can within tables for CabMaster 11.1. I'm not going to cover that. In version 12, you will be able to. In that runner editor, it will have the option to change your construction methods. So was there any other questions or anything that somebody want to know how to create? How to have different gaps in the inner drawer fronts. Okay, I'm with you. So if we go back to, say, that one there. So by default, if we do go back up to here and we go area 1, say upper 1, and we go options, scroll down, I want fronts, sorry, fronts. So by default, you do have that single option for between. If you wanted, say, 30mm and then you had a hinge or something and you needed 70mm to clear, the way to do that would be to add another horizontal division and work out the spacing so that you can set them off. Unless Leaf has a better solution. So we do have another way, apparently. Area 1, upper 1, fronts. I'm not talking about left and right. Yeah, to height, as in, so if we go 2, sorry about this. If we go to, what we'll do is we go back to area 1, content 1. We'll set that as, say, 300 tab. There's our 2 drawers there. We might even make it 3. That might be the best way to do it. This is the beauty of webinars. We can have live discussions on how to do things. So say we wanted a larger gap here than we wanted there. Because it all works off that one gap there. So if we made that say 30, it'd do something like that. If you wanted a different height here, for example, the best way to do that, area 1 construction 1, add in a second division. We would set that middle one as draws. Make that, say, get rid of that. We'll make that 100, probably a little small. 180 tab. That's unincluded, and we'll set that as 22 as well. So we'll go area 1, middle one, set that as 1 draw, and area 1, upper one, we'd set that as 2 draws. We can now go back to our middle one, take our front, include in height, and we'll set our top gap as 10 tab. We'll do our gaps. Tab. We'll get rid of our handle there. Remove handle. For area 1, upper one, I'll move those drawers back so we can better see how it all looks. Back to there. That gives you the general gist. If we move that bottom one down, so we'll go to cabinet details, area 1, make that say 250 tab, and then we'll go back to middle one, fronts, and we can increase that top gap by say 30, or even in this case we could go something like 100. So there's a little bit of maths involved and messing around with it to get it to what you want, but that is probably the easiest way to achieve having different gaps. Excellent. Well, that concludes today's webinar on drawers. I hope everyone's learned something today. Look out for version 12 because it is going to make things so much easier for you. No longer will you have to call up support to move some runner holes or drawer holes. It'll be a quick, easy process.